Thanks. Welcome to our August edition of our Kentucky K-12 CIO and EdTech Leaders webcast. I'm David Couch with the Kentucky Department of Education. Today we have, this is mainly for our districts, our OET staff, and our vendor partners and our co-ops. We do have Education Networks of America that will be joining us. And has already joined us, but will be presenting at 10:30. And during that part, we will turn off the KD Media Portal and just remain here on Teams. So the Teams link is mainly just for our OET staff, our district staff, and today ENA as a guest, which typically you don't have access to the Teams link. So thank you for joining us, ENA. For this. This is actually going to be a historic type of webcast for us. It's the very first time we were going to be using Microsoft Teams, the AI ability in Microsoft Teams to take the transcript and make the written summaries, and you can also use it to use the minutes. I'll learn from it as well as how to give keys to it, and this will be a wonderful tool for folks like Lisa Moore, who's been the one that's had to go through and do the written summaries that we make available and highlights after every webcast, including the one that we do for our OET Team Huddle. And really all the organizations within KD that have someone assigned who's responsible for doing the summary notes or doing the minutes of it. So we'll see how that plays out. So when you see the summary next month, as you've seen the summary of this month, and we'd always do the summary. If you've not seen those and you missed last month, I encourage you to take a look at that. But if you've not seen that, please take a look at it. But that will be, the next one will be done by AI. Now, obviously, we'll be tweaking that a little bit. That's not stand alone, but it'll significantly, I hope, improve the amount of time that it takes to do that type of thing. We also have Go Soapbox available. That's our tool here to get feedback throughout the webcast. We have some Go Soapbox questions today. It's mainly focused in on E-rate. So we appreciate you giving us that feedback on the poll questions and the discussion question about our E-rate training that we provide, or anything else that we see that kind of bubbles up to the top. We'll address it during the webcast. We also will be covering our first 9 topics in just 30 minutes. So at 10:30, we will stop with those first 9 topics, and then we will hit upon the ENA part of our discussion. And during that part, ENA will give an overview of where we're at today and some of the where we're going in the future, including some of the features that we can see going forward. So I'll start first with circling back to our very last topic that we covered in our Kentucky K-12 CIO and EdTech Leaders Summit in March with KISTI, which we had 80% of our districts there to give us feedback on 4 different topics. And the topic of this last one is a very timely one, considering an initiative that KD the agency has to try to make folks aware and try to improve chronic absenteeism. But the teaching point for all of us here, I sent you in advance the 2 questions that we asked around this topic about what are the most important educational topics going on within your district, and how can technology help out with that? And the teaching point here, without going through those, is, and I know I try to do that as a CIO here in KDE, is you always want to be part of those discussions of the major educational initiatives, not the technology ones, but you're sitting in on the major educational issues of the organization or goals. And then you try to think about how can technology help address that. So you'll see within the notes that I sent you in the attached Word document, where there's folks sharing from their perspective the biggest challenge going on within their district. And you saw student absenteeism and teacher shortage come up there. And then the second part of that question, you can see the results from the 21 tables that we had that were the feedback from all the district CIOs and EdTech leaders we had there today is how can education technology play a role in that? So I encourage you to take a look at that feedback that we got Oh, we'll need someone to get muted. So someone needs to mute the mic. So we have muters that are assigned to do that. So just beware if you got your mic open. So Katie, the agency very recently has a Every Student Counts initiative that was just recently kicked off to try to address the chronic absenteeism. Chronic absenteeism is identified and discussed as you miss 16 days of school. That's 10% of the school year. And the most alarming part, and we talked about this a few months ago, I shared you the feedback that we got, is the significant rise in elementary school students that are chronic, showing up in this category of being absent more than 16 days in a school year. And that comes down to the parent, part. Probably all these, the parents plays a role in, students' attendance and the value of education for them. So there's a variety of things that we're trying to do to get that on the radar screen. There's ads, there's radio, there's TV. And basically the line that it always captured me is, we miss you. And I think that anytime that you have any kind of meeting time, if someone says, hey, we miss you, where were you at? Can you come join us? And it's just not the school, it's the fellow students that are asking about that. So you'll see that in the theme of it. And by the way, to give you a feeling for how big this is across our state, this issue of chronic absenteeism, before the pandemic, we only had 5% of our schools that were identified as being in this category. We now have 77%, which is a major issue. And I hope we're at the peak of it and it's not increasing. So obviously, this is a very important thing for us to address. And it's just trying to get students back in school. We talked about the initiative talks about, Dee, I know you're a big part of the early warning system that's available through Infinite Campus. That's a role that technology can play to help identify maybe the students at all grade levels, just not, you think about high school, maybe juniors and seniors, but that's not the issue. That is an issue, but it's not the sole issue of it. Now is trying to identify those students early. That's definitely a role that can be played. Virtual learning is one. Now keep in mind, and Marty, I think we're on this with virtual and online learning, it's a very small percentage that are full-time. It's 1% or less, as I recall.
Correct. That's correct.
You have a higher percentage that may take 1 or 2 courses that they can't get locally. So that's going to be higher. But definitely, this is trying to get more face-to-face and dealing with the face-to-face use of students not coming in. And the virtual online for 100%, for students that are doing 100% is a nice option for those that prefer that. But we know that close to 99% it's in person that we're going after. So how can we get them back attending? So you'll hear and see billboards about that, and hopefully your district is helping with that, including, I think one of the things technology is always doing, going back to the 90s, is it can create a more engaging learning environment for students. And it's one of the tools in the toolbox can make instructional content and academic content more engaging for students. So that's also one of the roles they can play. Earlier this month, we presented to the Kentucky Board of Education. Last month, I shared with you what we were going to present, and you can see those in the summary notes. We went through 2 items, what is the status of our EdTech health right now? And it is excellent in many categories, and in fact, in almost all of them across that we measure. So we're in a very good state of EdTech health across the state. So that was my teaching point to them, and the funding sources that helped address that, but also addressed to them the need for additional budget requests in the next major legislative session to address the KETS funding and why that was important and what it would go toward. And our board has been very supportive of the increase. We had 3 new board members, so they got to hear it and see the information that we shared during the board meeting about the infographic that we shared with you, the timeline and laying out what we're doing. So I felt good about it after that meeting. So that was one of the main purposes. Next up is we present to the School Facility Construction Commission, SFCC, who has been a wonderful teammate of the Kentucky Education Technology System, KETS, since the birth of KETS in 1992. They play an important role of distributing the financial offers of assistance, and they also play a very important role of when legislators see the amount of money that is stored for financial offer assistance, making sure that they educate those legislators on what that is and not to get the big eye to use it for something else. Because as most of you recall, if you've been in your position for a while, is those funds can be used, for up to 3 years before they're actually matched. So that's a really good and solid thing that it was done by the legislature back in the early 1990s. And they do an excellent job how they protect that. I'd like to announce that they do have a new executive director. It is Christy Russell, and we're so happy for Christy. Anybody that is involved with SFCC recognizes what a wonderful thing that is for Christy to be placed in that position. Christy has been a behind-the-scenes person for that organization for as long as I can remember. She replaces Chelsea Couch, who has become a director in the finance cabinet. And before Chelsea was Bob Tarvin, who is one of our Stillwell Award winners, by the way. And so they've had great stability and great quality in that position. And so we're happy for Christy in getting that role. And we will be presenting to them on September 4th as the last step before financial offers of assistance can be sent to districts. Also in August, we presented our cybersecurity health check, also in August, I should say, and Bob knows this, our cybersecurity health check is due on the 31st. We presented ours to our board and to our commissioner very recently. And I always look at that as a great educational opportunity. We are also doing this afternoon phishing training for KD agency staff. So we're always looking at different ways to educate them on cybersecurity. One of the main things we're helping them going through is the importance of being able to identify that they're being attempted to be phished and to report it. And we actually, within Office of Education Technology, went through that with our own staff. And we're getting ready to do the phishing training across KD, and meaning that it's kind of a pop quiz. Every month or so, they will get a phish that is generated by Microsoft on our behalf to see what percentage of the KD staff actually entered their username and password, which is really what we're taking a look at. Did they do that or did they not do that? If they did do that, then they'll be asked to attend training. And obviously, if it's a repeat kind of issue, then their leader in their office will be asked to address that. So, but we're going to do that because the magnitude and the scale of attacks that we've been getting. Also in August, the board meeting, the Kentucky Board of Education approved our amendment to our existing K-12 online remote to virtual learning reg, which was supported. It was a small amendment, and I appreciate it was a joint team of Office Assessment Accountability, Office of Teaching Learning, and our Office of Legal Services that presented that, and it was approved. And it's a small amendment. We've talked about that. We've talked about that earlier. Upcoming in the future, I'll let Chuck and Marty talk a little bit about our Kentucky Society for Technology Education, our great folks that are lead and are part of that organization, their fall conference. So I'll turn that over to you all.
Cool. I'll take it real quick, David. So the big event this year at the KISTI Fall event, and we're working really closely with Rhonda Thompson, who's Vice President of KISTI. Hey, big shout out to Rhonda. The primary CIO strand this year at the fall event will be all focused on CUES, our Connected User Experience initiative that's going to be implementing over the next couple of years. We're going to make sure that we have some really deep project updates. We're going to make sure we have a panel discussion with some folks that have ventured down the identity space ahead of us, lessons learned. But more importantly, and this is just something we're hearing through our advisory group that's been assembled, we're going to have some deep product demos, and the identity automation team is going to be there to make sure we can cover the gamut of all that the rapid identity solution will bring in terms of efficiencies to all 171 of our school districts. So Marty, you want to talk about the other strands that are being planned?
Yeah, I think, and Chuck, I think the point that you hit on just now is that you want to be there. You will want to be there. You will want your teams and your staff members to be there, whether that's on the technical strand or it's on the maximizing the effective uses of technology strand. And so we will have. We're excited for who KISTI is bringing to Kentucky. Again, the focus will be with Dr. Scott McLeod and the 4 shifts that he's designed for leveraging technologies into deeper learning practices. And so it's going to be an exciting day. Again, shout out to the KISTI leadership team for designing a fall event that everyone is going to want to be at. We've even had some initial conversations about, the room capacities, and that's a great thing when you start talking about the capacity of the rooms. And so reach out to KISTI board members, KISTI leadership team members with additional questions, and those certain conversations can happen in progress over at regional meetings as well. Thanks, David.
Yeah, thank you. Chuck, is there anything you want to mention at this point? Because normally we have our status of EdTech contracts, so you'll be talking about Qs a little bit there, won't you?
I sure will, David. Whenever you're ready.
Well, you'll be speaking a little bit of that.
Is that my cue for Qs?
Yes, that's right. You'll be talking a little bit.
Well, just real quick.
KISTI,
I know we've got That's correct. That is correct.
Okay.
But I think the big things for folks to understand right now as it relates to Qs, if you can still hear me. Can everybody still hear me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good deal. There's a lot of information being delivered at the regional meetings this month. So pay close attention to the regional agenda as we provide our August updates. As I mentioned earlier, our advisory group has been assembled. We've met a couple of times already. But we've got a lot of information that's going to be coming here in the next month. We've got a resource hub, which is going to be a one-stop shop for all things associated with this initiative, communications, training, product updates, schedules, readiness activities, so forth and so on. And as I mentioned, we're also planning some big events just to bring people up to speed, whether it's the October 25th KISTI event. We're planning on a kind of a statewide webcast on September the 19th, which will kind of be a meet and greet for all of our districts to see who our identity automation team is that you're going to be working closely with. So my point would be just stay closely attached at the regional level to your CATS engineers, to your advisory group members for all kinds of upcoming information about the initiative. Thanks, David.
Thank you. Next up, we have Dee Dee Connor for our data systems update. Oh, Dee Dee, you're on mute.
I'll be quick on this one. Just to remind everybody, we do have a report card that is being worked on now. We expect to open it up to districts to look at, start entering data and actually verifying and approving data September 16th. So we're a little under a month away. We're encouraging districts to try to do some data quality work beforehand or gather collection items, because there is going to be a very quick turnaround for the school profile report, which is due October 1. We do have, we keep getting questions about campus learning and online registration and whether KDE will continue to pay for the whole year this year. We don't have an answer for you yet. We're still waiting to hear if we can use the extension of ESSER funds for that. So, we've tentatively paid, but we don't have a good answer for you. So that is an outstanding question. And as soon as we hear with certainty, one way or the other, we will get that information out to you. Just a reminder that e-transcripts is available to your graduates from 2024 through the end of this month. It might be a good opportunity to send a message out to those folks, reminding them to request their transcripts by August 30th to be able to get a free transcript. Then we do have some scheduled trainings for Infinite Campus in September. These are based on feedback we got from the beginning of year training. Infinite Campus is going to be delivering the training on the new rosters and requests functionality within campus. The old tool is going to go away. So we want to make sure that everybody is aware of this and knows how to use it. And so we've got a lot of interest in the cross-site enrollment. So we've asked Infinite Campus to come in and do some training on that. These will be recorded, and so they will be available on Infinite Campus. So if folks aren't able to attend those live, they will have an opportunity later. just some techie news that you all would probably be more interested in. There was the SFTP legacy protocol that was due to sunset. Infinite Campus has held off on that because of some issues that districts were having on that. So got a little bit more time, but I still encourage folks to try to move to the new, or at least try out the new. So if you do run into issues, you can get those resolved before the old system does sunset. We do one more update, David, on the KEX, the Kentucky Educator Credentialing Services System. That system is updating LEAD on a daily basis now, so not weekly. This is the way educators' credentials are verified for the classes and the student populations that they're serving. So that should be happening weekly, though. So help encourage folks to be looking at that and dealing with course issues or teacher placements earlier in the cycle versus just the twice a year that they've done those historically. That's all I've got, David.
Well, a couple of things for our discussion. For the ESSER, that is a package that Katie Agency is putting together, and I suspect we will know better about that at the very end of September. So we'll be able to get a better status of that at that time. For Social Security numbers, healthy data diet, a couple things that are going on. I know, Dee Dee, we're looking at doing some things with the Infinite Campus themselves to stop synchronizing and zeroing some of those out. I know that's one of the things we're looking at pursuing. Tell me if I'm wrong in that way I described that.
Yes, we are looking at doing that. We are trying to, we're doing some stuff now. It's more impactful at the state level, but at the district level, we're working with Infinite Campus to provide tools where districts can make choices on whether to keep the old historical Social Security numbers or not, or how many of those to actually continue to update in their system.
I don't think I have the access.
So in
to
my
finish
next meeting
so
with the
send it to LaShannon. I switched to the old look and I don't have the tabs that they under in it.
Here we go.
Right.
So my next meeting with the Commissioner Fletcher, and I have all the associates have a direct report with him at least every 2 weeks. And one of the items I'll be discussing with him is the healthy data diet for Social Security numbers. Now, when he was a superintendent in Eastern Kentucky, he heard me present on this topic at the Kentucky Valley Educational Cooperative that I attended monthly there. But he's going to get a little bit more detail on the efforts that we've been moving toward with Kentucky Stats, the Kentucky Higher Education Assistance Authority. My next meeting will be with the Council for Post-Secondary Education to really find out how much they really need or don't need Social Security numbers. Can they use something else associated with that? I'll also be discussing that with our legal and legislative folks about what law changes need to start occurring to start, and like I say, any kind of diet doesn't necessarily mean going to zero, but what can we do to put leverage points in there to start having this dependence on Social Security numbers getting much smaller? As Bob Hackworth would tell you, is the small amount of breaches that we've had in Kentucky over the past year, and it is really small compared to all the size of attacks. If you removed out of the equation Social Security numbers, I suspect that number would be zero. So besides just the breaches there and smaller, we reduce a significant risk of students having their identities obtained and misused way before they graduate. So that's a very important item to me that will continue to pursue, but we also need you all to help us champion that as well. Mike, on topic number 8, is there, we've hit on Qs and Dee Dee hit on the school report cards. Is there anything else that you'd like to update on? I know a couple of these are in progress.
Well, I don't think there's much status change on any of those from the last time we talked. So we do have open procurement activities continuing to occur on the internet content management, on the professional learning management system, and then the other ones you have listed there are all in motion as far as, initial and early stages of implementation and planning and so forth. So again, I don't think the status has changed since we've talked to them. So since you highlighted Qs and Dee Dee talked about the data impacted items, I think we've got that topic area covered pretty well for today.
Okay. Thanks. I'll take us on to topic number 9. our E-rate training. So if you could bring up our responses on Go Soapbox to for those that are taking us through there, they'll close out any other topics that we want to talk before we kind of call these kind of a
while that's coming up, David, I'll mention CAT's offers of assistance. I think we mentioned before that our plan at this point is $21 for ADA for the year, and we will plan on breaking that down by doing a $12 per ADA first offer, which will we intend to have start going out in the early October timeframe, and then the second one would be $9 again, total 21.
Yeah, someone needs to mute. We need our muters to go find out. If you're, unless you're speaking, we need you to mute.
So total 21 for the year. And as always, we will continue to look for opportunities to, provide anything additional or increase to that. But right now, that's the number that we will be planning for offers. So I want to mention that real quick.
Can you go ahead and bring those up? Okay. All right. Always a good event. I don't know if you want to give a plug for that, Mike.
Yeah, so as always, each year we do E-rate trainings, and we added this section of questions regarding E-rate just to give an opportunity to get some feedback and make sure we're hearing what's working, what's not working. We felt like these are important and pretty well attended, and I think our numbers there of who plans to attend supports that. We've got 61% that say they plan to attend, and that is in line with what we would think. So we just want to do a little verification there. Looks like we got a good mixture on the preferred method by which to deliver the training, and so we will continue to work to satisfy that, and that's really kind of been our intention. We just wanted to again get a check for that. It does show that a slightly higher percentage, 37%, does prefer face-to-face. So, we've leaned toward continuing to provide those, but also provide a couple of opportunities for online as well. So, so that's good. That's good feedback for us to have there on that. And then, is there anything in the? I know I looked at this a minute ago. Go ahead, David.
No, I was just saying you can just go through and open these up. Okay.
Yeah. Hotspot eligibility and cybersecurity is certainly going to be part of what we intend to stay tuned on as far as what's going on with those, and to advise all of you all on that as we continue to learn more about that and the process and the progress on both of those topics. I think we got a lot of all of the above as far as the topic areas there. So, and let's see, there was another. And again, I think it's good to kind of have a sequence here. It looks like 1 and 3 are the top two being hit on here. So that's step-by-step filing instructions and program compliance.
I see tips in there too. I see tips. I see 2 in there too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, yeah. Obviously, we asked everybody to put them in order there. So, So obviously, all of those areas are important. We just wanted to make sure we were focusing on the ones that were most important to you all. And then we got any on the how can we improve here? Number 3. Online training. Okay, so we will obviously continue to work on that. And a call out to Scott and Caprice. Always welcome. They do an excellent job at being on point for us for this program area. So good feedback. And obviously, plug anything else in that you have, and certainly always reach out through your CATS regional engineer or directly to one of us as far as input, comments, ideas. We want to make sure we stay on top of this program. Obviously, this program is shifting and changing. When I say changing, I mean, obviously the possibility of adding some things, expanding the scope of what is or is not, as has happened throughout the years. And then also, recent activity about some things being called into question around the E-rate program, and so we'll follow that. I don't expect anything immediate to come out of anything that impacts the E-rate program as far as how it runs or continues to be a program that's available to K through 12 education. But certainly if we observe or see something that makes us think something's going to shift on that, we're going to be on top of that and a part of that. So again, just another area that has been in the news here lately as far as things being called into question by certain groups and certain courts regarding the E-rate program, and as far as whether it's I'm trying to think of the right word, but whether the process and the structure of it is allowable or not under certain laws and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, we'll stay on top of that as well.
Well, thanks to you that joined us by the KD Media Portal. And we're going to sign off of that now. So thank you for joining us. For our districts and our OET staff and our ENA staff that are part of teams,